Hey guys, Rowan back here again for the next installment of this particular review series. So where we left off was with the big hit album Hysteria, which Leppard actually released in '87, and the tour was huge. Despite all the setbacks, the band did so well, and great things happened. And they decided that at this point they weren't going to take as long as they had done with Hysteria and actually make a quick album, but they were trying, but things started to go downhill from there for the band internally, which the outside world was speculating what that might be. But proof of that was shown in Jan 8, 1991, with the death of Steve Clark. For Leopard fans, that was a huge blow. It is still till today. We miss him unbelievably. He was the riff master. He was such a genius and such a rock god in so many ways. But what he did do finally was, contributes immensely to the band's song writing and so on. And a lot of that music was then finally used for the album that followed Hysteria, and even for the next album that you could say kind of concluded the Steve Clark era for Def Leppard. And following Hysteria and following Steve's unfortunate demise, the band finally forged together for the only time as a four-piece, which was Phil Collins doing pretty much all the lead guitar work and instruments, Rick Savage, helping out with doing all the bass tracks and some acoustic tracks and so on, Joe on vocals, and Rick Allen. They chose not to hire anyone at this point to join the band because they just felt that being as part of the family, being respectful to Steve, they just needed to finish this and really put it out there and show that Leppard could survive and play his songs live. And just serve as a tribute, so they just thought it'd be better just to be the four of them, which is what happened. And the album that we ended up with was finally, which was Adrenalize. And again, this song, or sorry, not song, but album, is as big as Pyromania and Hysteria. My only concern is that for some reason, I don't know why, this album was dedicated to Steve Clark. It is so big that most of the songs that are on this album are played live even till today, but the band never really acknowledges this album whenever they talk about their discography. It's always high and dry. It's maybe sometimes On Through the Night, very rarely. Hysteria, definitely. They talk about, songs and albums that followed and all, but for some reason this album gets missed out on. And I don't understand, honestly. But anyway, moving on to the album itself, the album cover is pretty cool, and a lot of guys think it's a globe, with this kind of interesting whiteness coming out of it, but I just personally think that it's not really a globe as such. It's more like, the pupil of an eye, like an eye, and with the word adrenalize. And Phil had actually said that word, but quite by accident in a conversation with his wife at that point, saying how adrenalized he felt, and he actually realized that, oh, adrenalize, that's a really good word to use, and they actually ended up using it. So to me, that's the coolest album title that Leppard has put out, Adrenalize. It sounds like charge up, power up. And that's really what this album is. It's quick pace, the songs flow a lot faster than the Hysteria album. The feel and vibe, there's more of a pop oriented sound in this album, but again, not selling out, not making it sound like it's gone soft or something like this. It's got some great stuff. And the first track on this is Let's Get Rock, which is, I think, the first song I ever heard of Def Leppard, all about Bart Simpson, and my all-time Leppard song favorite. I think this is really cool. It's in the same vein as Pour Some Sugar on Me, Animal, Photograph, and so on. Just straight up there, still played live till today. Really big. The next track, which is Heaven, is again a straight out rocker. Really a lot of grooves to it, very melodic, a lot of hooks in it, really catchy. And the same with Make Love Like a Man, which is more like just kind of a spoof type song and so on. But what's interesting on Make Love Like a Man is there's this middle section which sounds like Joe, but it's not really in Joe singing. It's actually Phil Collins singing, and he sounds so similar to Joe. That I didn't know this for quite a few years until I actually read up and actually saw kind of an interview that Phil had actually shared at that point, that he was singing that part. And it's really interesting when you actually hear this song. The song Tonight is very much like the song Too Late for Love from Pyromania, which is a very dark kind of ballad, but a song they've been working on. But it is so cool. I mean, the thing is that this song is a song that really, like Too Late for Love, just kind of draws you in. It's got this dark overtone to it, and it really makes you kind of, sort of feel what, is really happening in terms of the way Joe's singing about this. And the solo on this song is very memorable. It really stands out very much like the way the solo for Armageddon from Hysteria is. And the next song was is called White Lightning, which is the nickname that Steve Clark used to have. So this song was written once he had passed away and was dedicated to him. And it's about his struggle with alcoholism and with his struggles with, things that were, troubling him and so on, and, how he was dealing with things. But it's not meant to be a song of, like accusing him of anything. It's just more to be that, the band understanding that though they tried and they wish they could have probably done more, this was probably just a way to probably tell people and tell fans of, the kind of way in which, what battle Steve was going through at that point. The song itself is one of the epic songs, very much in the vein of Gods of War and stuff like that, considered to be on that level, so to speak. And the song that follows, I rate as one of my top 5 all-time favorite ballads, which is Stand Up, Kick Love and Emotion. And I just wish the song would get more attention than it does. I think it is so catchy. It has got this very interesting vibe to it. The way in which Phil plays on this song, the kind of solo he does is, it just changed my opinion of him on so many levels, because he was in some way overshadowed by Steve in some ways and the way he was doing things. But it's a lot of respect. I know that Steve had written the basic riff and done things, and a lot of the songs, Heaven Is, Make Love Like a Man, Tonight, and all that, all featured Steve's inputs and so on. But the way the song is reworked is really, really good. The songs that followed this one, like Personal Property, is good, but I would not call it great. It's nice. It's a hard rock song, good song, but not something that really, you could say, really packs a lot of punch. The next song, which is Have You Ever Needed Someone So Bad, is a brilliant ballad. People love it. A lot of women love this song in particular, and a lot of people think that it's very much in the vein of talking the same way Love Bites is. But Love Bites being a little darker, this was a little less dark, but it was something that really caught everyone's attention. And the next song, I Want to Touch You, is got the same kind of tone of drums, vocals. Kind of reminds me in some way of Pour Some Sugar on Me, this kind of structure, but not exactly like Pour Some Sugar on Me. Something similar. This is something about it. The next song was actually the first song, which was just done as a rough demo before even Hysteria was done, but was finally ended up on this album, which is Tear It Down. And Tear It Down is kind of got there's a division amongst fans, where some fans like the song, some fans don't. I personally like it. I think it's good. It's kind of catchy, but for the band themselves, the new guy who actually replaced Steve Clark, Vivian Campbell, he hates this track. He just thinks that it's just based on a basic A riff, A chord riff, and it really doesn't have that much weight. That's okay. That's just Viv's opinion. We love him. But I think overall it's a good track, and it's a good way to close the album. It would have been nice, I think, if there was some song which ended up on the Retroactive album, which followed this one, which was in the following year of 1993. Maybe She's Too Tough had probably been on here instead of Personal Property, but hey, that's just my opinion. But it eventually was released, so good news for all of us and for the fans that really love that song. And Leppard at this point decided that it was time, with Vivian joining and coming on board for the tour and so on, that it was time to probably conclude and in some way say goodbye to Steve in a way, and put out an album and close things up, which was Retroactive, which we'll discuss next. One song which was never featured on this album or nor on Retroactive, but which ended up being released as a very powerful single, which was When Love and Hate Collide, came on the Best Hits album, which followed Retroactive, but we'll get into that when we come across that review. But for the time being, stay tuned. Thanks.